and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. The Gospel of the Lord. Some people say this story that I'm about to tell you is true. Others say it's based on a true story. Still others say it's not true at all. What do you say it is? Here's the story. A few years ago, during an unseasonably cold stretch of winter, a couple from Minneapolis decided to go to Florida for a few days. Because of their hectic schedules, it was difficult to travel together, so the husband flew down to Florida on Thursday, with his wife flying down the next day. After the husband checked into their hotel, he used the room's computer to email his wife. But he accidentally left out one letter in her email address, and without realizing his error, the email went to the wrong person. Now, somewhere in Phoenix, a widow had just returned home from her husband's funeral. Expecting comforting messages from relatives and friends, the widow checked her email, but after reading the first one, she screamed and then fainted. Her son rushed into the room and saw this on the computer screen. To my loving wife, I just arrived and checked in. You must be really surprised to hear from me. They now have computers here, and we're allowed to send emails to our loved ones. I see that everything has been prepared here for your arrival tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you then. Hope your journey is uneventful as mine was. P.S. Sure is hot down here. Now rest assured, this anecdote has little, if anything, to do with today's gospel readings, other than illustrating how easy it is to miscommunicate ideas or messages. The point here is that Jesus wants to limit any misconceptions about his identity. When Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do the people say that I am?" he heard the expected answers like John the Baptist or Elijah or one of the ancient prophets. Now, I doubt if our answers to the same question today would be any more enlightened. I imagine they'd reflect a Jesus that fits into our own personal worldview. Progressive Jesus or conservative Jesus, good old boy Jesus or radical Jesus. How about my friend Jesus? The list would go on and on. All of these answers, though, seem to imply an incomplete understanding of who Jesus is. Jesus wants us to know him intimately and to know the truth of his divine identity. Do you ever wonder why Jesus wants to know this? It may be because he needs us to become aware of what's hidden in our hearts. Jesus desires to reveal what God has freely given each of us, the great gift of faith. And it's our faith in Jesus who gives voice and action to our convictions. So it really doesn't matter who the crowd say Jesus is, because he's always calling us out of the crowd, out of the limelight, or off the beaten track to walk the less traveled path with him. Jesus wants to share himself with anyone who accepts him. And so Jesus invites us a little closer by asking arguably the most important question ever. Who do you say that I am? The answer to that question, my friends, is found in each of our hearts. Marcus Borg, a well-known biblical scholar, offers some added insight into the question, who do you say that I am? Borg says that as Christians, we grew up thinking that we knew Jesus well enough because of what the Gospels said about him. But he goes on to say that believing is more than just accepting a set of doctrines or teachings. From its Greek and Latin roots, believing means to give one's heart to. Believing, therefore, isn't just giving a mental nod to something, but involves a much deeper level of giving one's entire identity, just as Jesus gives to each one of us. Believing in Jesus means committing our heart at its very deepest level to a risen Jesus, to the living Christ, to the very face of God among us. It's this Jesus we encounter when searching for happiness. He refreshes us when nothing else will satisfy us. He is the beauty in what we behold. He is the one who inflames our thirst for justice and truth. He is the one who always shows compassion and gives us mercy. And when the prophet Micah reminds us to act justly, to walk tenderly, and to humbly walk with our God, he's referring to Jesus Christ. Have you ever tried to piece together a jigsaw puzzle? If so, then you know it's a painstaking process to accomplish the job. Every little piece matters to putting the picture together. And in a similar way, when we attempt to answer the question, who do you say that I am? We're being invited to piece together a kind of mosaic of our beliefs, our trials, our hopes, our joys that we've experienced in Jesus Christ. Now, I'm sure we've all heard that familiar truism, actions speak louder than words. Well, I hope my actions never betray me, but I worry that they don't always confess what's truly in my heart about Jesus Christ. How we act is usually the result of what we believe. And much of what we do is noticed by others long before we ever speak a word. So what we say through our lives, through our time, through our relationships, through our treasures is a good reflection of who Jesus is to us. Words are very important indeed. But I think St. Francis got it right when he said, "Go out into the world and preach the gospel, but use words only when necessary." Who do you say that I am? May require a lifetime of discernment until we understand that we share the same identity, human and divine, as Jesus. In Jesus, God took on flesh and blood. He ate food, he got tired, he wept and he slept and he laughed, just as we do. And when we objectively know this, then we can become Jesus for others by offering compassion and love to the world, and especially to the LGBT community who lost 49 souls a week ago. This then gives witness to the truth that though the cross was in some mystical way the destiny for Jesus, it wasn't the end of his life with us. I believe a bright future can be found in Jesus Christ, who's always with us, even in our most personal darkness. Each of us will be able to find Christ in his own way. Everything in life leads to Jesus, and he brings everything in life into his light. And so, my friends, whoever you say Jesus is, believe it with your heart and live it with your life. And lest I